Have you ever woken up feeling strangely tired, even after a full night's sleep, like you hit the pillow exhausted, toss and turn, and by morning you're still running on fumes? It's not just you. There's something bigger at play, something quietly siphoning off your vitality. And guess what? It's woven so deeply into our daily routines that most of us never even notice. Today, I'm going to show you what this hidden system really is, how it manages to drain your precious energy day after day, and more importantly, how you can finally break free. Ready to pull back the curtain? The silent heist of your vitality. Picture this: you start your day determined to handle your responsibilities, work, family, that never-ending to-do list, only to find your enthusiasm fading before you even step out the door. It's as if someone sneaks into your mind at night and steals tomorrow's motivation. The truth is, there's a larger scheme working around the clock to ensure you're always just a little too tired, a bit too overwhelmed, and constantly craving some quick fix for relief. It's not an over-the-top sci-fi conspiracy. It's more like a subtle heist that happens right under your nose. Why subtle? Because it's orchestrated so smoothly that you don't realize it's happening. The same way you might lose spare change in your sofa cushions without noticing, you're losing small but significant chunks of mental, emotional, and physical energy all day long. The result? You end up feeling drained, resigned, and unable to question why life feels like an endless hamster wheel. Don't worry, you're not lazy and you're not failing. You've just been conditioned by forces that benefit from your exhaustion. But once you see how it all works, you can start regaining control. More than physical fatigue, we often think energy means our physical stamina, how long we can hustle at work, run errands, or work out at the gym. But energy is so much more. It's your capacity to focus on what matters, to feel empathy for those around you, to dream big and take bold steps in your life. It's also the spark that fuels creativity and the clarity that helps you see through deception. In short, your energy is the cornerstone of everything you do and everything you are. Now imagine a machine that thrives on draining that essence from you. It doesn't just target your muscles, it goes after your hope, curiosity, and drive. It's like an invisible sponge soaking up the best parts of you. Sounds terrifying, right? But that's exactly how the hidden system gains power. It draws from your every thought, reaction, and emotional trigger. Bit by bit, it chips away until you're left wondering why you're too exhausted to chase your passions. Let me reassure you, you are not broken. You've just been playing by rules you never agreed to, but can absolutely rewrite. A world that profits from your distraction. If you pause and look around, it's clear that we live in a world geared to distract us at every possible turn. Think about your smartphone. Every ding, vibration, or pop-up is a call for your attention, a commodity more valuable than any precious metal. And it's not just big corporations after your clicks. It's also the constant stream of online arguments, viral trends, and sensational news cycles that profit from your outraged comments and frantic shares. The more you divide your focus, the easier you are to influence. It's like a stage magician who dazzles you with one hand, while the other hand is quietly making the trick happen behind your back. While you're busy chasing headlines or doom-scrolling social media, your deeper potential is left untapped. You forget your long-term goals, lose track of your time, and barely notice your diminishing capacity to concentrate. Over time, your scattered focus becomes your new normal. And when you operate in a state of perpetual distraction, you're more likely to buy into quick fixes, products, or ideas that promise instant relief or instant gratification, but deliver very little in return. The illusion of choice. Let's talk about illusions for a moment. If you've ever played a game rigged from the start, you know how frustrating it is. You roll the dice, move your piece, and it feels like you have a shot at winning until you realize the final outcome was already decided before you began. That's the illusion of choice in a nutshell. Our modern world often serves up a handful of predetermined options, making you believe you have genuine freedom. But in reality, whether you pick option A or option B, the house always wins. Politics is a prime example. We're told that each election matters more than the last, that picking one side versus the other will drastically change the course of history. But how often do those huge promises actually come to fruition for regular people? You'll notice the same wealthy individuals remain wealthy, the same power structures stay intact. It's like wearing a different colored jersey in the same never-ending game team colors, keep us divided, distracted, and at each other's throats. Meanwhile, the systemic issues remain untouched. But politics isn't the only arena with this illusion. Advertising does it too. You think you're choosing a new phone or car that fits your unique personality, but your decision was guided by years of strategic marketing, brand manipulation, and subtle psychological cues. By clinging to the idea that we have unlimited freedom, we stay invested in their game, fueling it with our energy, never suspecting it's rigged. Recognizing this facade is the first step toward reclaiming your real choices. The fear factor. Ever felt your heart pounding when you hear about an impending crisis or a frightening event? Fear is one of the most primal human emotions, and for good reason. It keeps us safe from real threats. But what happens when those in control exploit this emotion to keep you constantly on edge? Picture a car alarm that never stops blaring day in and day out. Eventually, you become so accustomed to the noise that it fades into the background, yet it continues to stress you out and wear you down, bit by bit. The news cycle is often a perpetual breaking story banner screaming that disaster is imminent. Social media amplifies controversies and tragedies, pushing our collective anxiety levels through the roof. Chronic exposure to fear triggers survival mode, a mental state where you're just trying to get through the day. This survival mode snuffs out your creativity and critical thinking. It's like walking through life in a constant haze, your mind forever scanning the horizon for danger instead of noticing any opportunities to grow, connect, or innovate. That perpetual state of alarm is not normal. It's orchestrated to keep you compliant, reliant on the system that claims to offer protection from all those looming threats. The question is, are they really keeping you safe, or are they just keeping you in line? Consuming to fill the void. When was the last time you bought something you didn't really need? It's okay. We've all done it. One of the most effective ways the system drains your energy is by convincing you that happiness is always just one purchase away. You feel anxious? Buy a new gadget. You're bored? Upgrade your wardrobe. Feeling a little insecure? Splash out on something flashy. Before you know it, you're drowning in monthly payments, clutter, and a lingering sense that you're still not content. The promise of consumerism is like a mirage in the desert. You see water in the distance and keep trudging toward it, only to find burning sand when you arrive. Then you spot another shimmering promise on the horizon, and the cycle repeats. It never truly quenches your thirst for fulfillment. It just keeps you too busy and broke to ask the bigger questions, like what do I really want out of life? Or what truly brings me joy? This loop of wanting, buying, and momentary excitement is a treadmill that goes nowhere. And guess who benefits from all that pointless running? The machine that profits off your exhaustion. The debt trap. Hand in hand with consumerism is the world of loans, credit cards, and monthly installments. On the surface, these financial tools seem empowering, like they're letting you access opportunities you otherwise couldn't afford. But dig deeper, and you'll see how easily they become traps. Student loans that take decades to pay off. Credit card balances that balloon with crushing interest rates. Mortgages that lock you into a 30-year cycle of payments. All these obligations place a constant weight on your shoulders, day in and day out. It's similar to swimming with heavy boots on. Sure, you can still paddle around, but you'll be expending way more energy just to stay afloat. Over time, this constant pressure seeps into every aspect of your life. You might feel compelled to work longer hours at a job you hate, or settle for less time with friends and family, all because you need that steady paycheck. And while you're expending all your time and mental capacity just to keep your head above water, you have zero energy left to plan an escape or even dream of a different life. This isn't an accident, it's the design. Recognizing it is your first step toward finding a better path. The urban maze. Have you ever walked through a busy city street feeling like you're trapped in a pinball machine? Blinking neon signs, car horns blaring, crowds hustling to their next destination. It's a never-ending barrage of stimulation. Cities might offer opportunities, but they also drain your senses. You're stuck under fluorescent lights, surrounded by concrete, rarely touching grass, or feeling the sun's warmth directly on your skin. Over time, living in such an environment can feel like wearing a pair of headphones blasting static noise all day. Even if you manage to tune it out, your nervous system is still on high alert. Humans didn't evolve in concrete jungles. We're designed to adapt, but not without cost. The relentless noise and activity chip away at your mental serenity. It's like trying to have a meaningful conversation. In a nightclub, you're yelling over the music, and eventually, you just give up. In the chaos of urban life, it's easy to lose yourself, forget the grounding presence of nature, and become numb to the chronic stressors that sap your strength. Before you know it, you're caught in the city's tempo, living by its rhythm instead of your own. The hidden toll of always being on. Look at your smartphone's screen time report. Shocked? Don't worry, you're not alone. Our modern world conditions us to be always on. Whether it's checking work emails at midnight or scrolling through social feeds during every spare second, we rarely allow ourselves a moment of genuine rest. This perpetual connectivity might seem convenient, but it's also draining you more than you realize. Think of your brain like a rechargeable battery. It needs downtime to regroup and regain full capacity. But if you're constantly draining it with notifications, updates, and messages, you rarely get back to 100%. The result? A fuzzy mind, decreased creativity, and a baseline level of anxiety that never really goes away. It's like leaving multiple apps running in the background of your phone. Sure, it might still function, but it's slower, hotter, and runs out of battery way faster than it should. Eventually, you get so accustomed to this underpowered state that you forget what it feels like to be fully charged. You deserve better than half-charged living. Smoke and mirrors of modern media. They call it the news, but how much do you actually learn from it? Many outlets have become less about informing you and more about exploiting your emotional responses. Fear sells. Outrage sells. Tragedy sells. The formula is simple. Grab your attention, keep you hooked, and make you believe you need to stay tuned for the next update. In the process, your stress levels spike, your sense of security plummets, and you're left feeling powerless against a world that seems perpetually on fire. Streaming platforms work similarly, albeit with a gentler fade. They promise endless entertainment to help you unwind. But watch how quickly you transition from one episode to the next, or how often you find yourself binge-watching until 2 a.m. Before you know it, you've traded rest and personal growth for passively consuming content that leaves you groggy and disoriented come morning. You might argue it's harmless entertainment, and in moderation, it can be. But we're not typically taught moderation. We're taught to indulge until our energy is depleted. Then, we rinse and repeat. This loop quietly robs us of the hours and mental space we could be using to explore our own ideas, passions, or even just catch some real rest. How music shapes your mood. Remember a time when music felt like it lifted your spirit? There's a good reason for that. Certain melodies and harmonies can resonate with your core, tapping into emotions that make you feel connected to something bigger. But fast forward to today's mainstream hits. They're often produced with repetitive beats, catchy hooks, and lyrics that glorify shallow lifestyles or toxic mindsets. That's not just a creative choice, it's a data-driven strategy to keep you craving the next hook. Imagine your favorite tune as a nutritional meal for your soul. Now compare that to a bag of candy that gives you a quick sugar rush, but leaves you depleted. Modern commercial music often falls into the latter category. It's engineered for virality and quick listens, not long-term value. Over time, those repetitive beats can keep your subconscious locked in a loop of limited emotional ranges, usually focused on lust, anger, or a sense of emptiness. It's not that you should never jam to a catchy song. Just remember that whatever you feed your mind can either nourish you or drain you. Choose wisely, recognizing the leaks in your daily life. Energy leaks aren't always colossal. Often, they're small, everyday things that nibble away at your vitality. Maybe it's gossiping at work, obsessing over negative news stories, or juggling so many obligations you don't even have time to think. Each of these tiny leaks adds up, much like constant drips can eventually flood a basement. If you've ever felt inexplicably worn out by mid-afternoon, chances are your energy has been seeping out through multiple microchannels all day long. When you start to notice these leaks, it can be unsettling. It's like finally seeing that you've been bleeding money every month on unnecessary subscriptions you forgot to cancel. You might feel guilty or annoyed, but remember, awareness is a gift. It means you can now patch the holes. Identifying these leaks is the first step toward retaining more of your life force for the things that genuinely matter. Don't beat yourself up, just start plugging the gaps. Taking back your focus. If your energy is the fuel, your focus is the steering wheel. Without focus, all the energy in the world won't get you where you want to go. The hidden system knows this, which is why it works tirelessly to scatter your attention. Reclaiming your focus starts with some simple but profound steps. Turn off those push notifications, set boundaries on when and how you consume news, and resist the urge to multitask every waking minute. Yes, it might feel like you're missing out at first, but think about what you gain: clarity, calm, and conscious intent. It's similar to switching from a noisy open-plan office to a quiet library. Suddenly, you can think. That silent space is where true creativity and insight emerge. Once you discover the peace that comes from focusing on a single task, be it cooking, reading, or having an uninterrupted conversation, you'll wonder how you ever tolerated living in a state of perpetual distraction. And guess what? When you're focused, you're also far less susceptible to the manipulations of an environment that wants to keep you restless and nature. We often see nature as a nice getaway or a luxury vacation spot, but in reality, it's our ancestral home. Stepping into a forest, walking along a beach, or simply sitting under a tree can reset your internal compass faster than any app or gadget ever could. Think of Mother Nature as the original recharge station for your soul, no subscription required. When you spend time outdoors, breathing fresh air, and letting natural light hit your eyes, you're giving your mind and body a chance to recalibrate. It's like rebooting your computer when it gets glitchy. You clear out the background processes, stress, worry, overstimulation, and suddenly, everything runs more smoothly. If you live in a city, this might be as simple as visiting the nearest park, or just pausing to watch the sky from your balcony. Don't underestimate these small moments. They accumulate into a wellspring of energy and clarity that your busy day otherwise denies you. Simplifying to amplify. Have you ever noticed how refreshing it feels to clean out your closet or delete a bunch of files off your computer? Simplifying your life, whether it's physical clutter or mental baggage, frees up your energy to focus on what truly matters. Our culture tends to glorify owning more clothes, more gadgets, more responsibilities. But every extra item or commitment requires a slice of your attention and care. Eventually, you're left managing things instead of living your life. Think of yourself as a gardener. Every seed you plant requires water, sunlight, and nutrients to thrive. If you scatter seeds everywhere, you'll struggle to maintain any of them. But if you carefully choose where to plant just a few seeds, you can nurture them into something beautiful and abundant. The same applies to how you allocate your energy. By trimming away the excess, you can grow what truly enriches your life. Simplifying isn't about deprivation. It's about making room for the stuff that really nourishes you. The ongoing battle for your mind space. Don't think that once you unplug from social media or limit your news exposure, the fight is over. The system evolves. It will find new ways to creep back into your mental space, whether through fresh platforms, trending controversies, or new forms of addictive content. The good news? You also evolve. The more aware you become, the more resilient you are to these tactics. It's like learning a new language. You start by recognizing a few words, and over time, you become fluent enough to not be fooled by mistranslations. The key is to stay vigilant without becoming paranoid. Keep checking in with yourself. Am I feeling unusually anxious right now? Where is this emotion coming from? Did I just consume something that triggered me? This kind of self-questioning helps you identify the forces tugging at your attention. Once you spot them, you can decide whether to engage or let them pass. In doing so, you transform from a passive consumer into an active participant in your own life. Creativity as a form of rebellion. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim your energy is through creativity. Whether it's painting, writing, dancing, cooking, or any other form of self-expression, creativity taps into a reservoir of vitality that consumer culture cannot replicate. When you create, you shift from being a spectator to being a maker. You're not just reacting to the world, you're contributing to it. In a system that wants you to remain a compliant consumer, creativity is an act of defiance. It says, I can produce something meaningful, not just buy what you're selling. Think about how kids draw pictures or play make-believe. They pour themselves into these activities, losing all sense of time because they're so immersed. That's the kind of energy you can tap into when you let go of external judgments and just make something for the sake of making it. This isn't about becoming a famous artist or earning money from your creations. It's about nurturing the spark inside you that's been buried under obligations and distractions. When you reclaim your creative energy, you're reclaiming a piece of your personal freedom. Building true connections. Humans thrive on genuine connection. Unfortunately, the hidden system often pushes us towards superficial or combative interactions, like arguing in comment sections or obsessing over likes and followers. We're tricked into thinking we're connected, but deep down, we feel more isolated than ever. It's like eating junk food when you're hungry. It satisfies you momentarily, but leaves you malnourished in the long run. Breaking free means seeking out real, face-to-face connections, or at least voice-to-voice if distance is a factor. Spend time talking with friends or family without checking your phone every few minutes. Listen deeply when someone shares their day with you. This kind of engagement not only recharges you, but can also remind you that you're more than just a cog in a machine. Real connection is like sunlight for the soul, something you didn't know you missed until you step outside and feel its warmth. Embracing rest and stillness. In a world that praises hustle and productivity, rest can feel almost rebellious. You might think, I don't have time to sit quietly. I have 1,000 things to do. But consider this, constant hustle is exactly what drains your energy to the bone, leaving you too depleted to question whether the race you're running is even worth it. Slowing down isn't lazy, it's essential maintenance. Just as your phone charges overnight, your mind and body also need that downtime to recharge. Even short breaks, like 10 minutes of silent reflection or a brief walk around the block, can reset your nervous system. Meditation isn't just for monks. It's for anyone who wants a moment of calm in an otherwise chaotic day. Stillness is a powerful antidote to the frantic pace that the hidden system uses to keep you disoriented. When you become comfortable in stillness, you'll find it easier to notice the signs of manipulation and reclaim the energy you didn't realize was slipping away. The continuous process of liberation. Breaking free isn't a one-time event. It's a journey. Think of it like peeling layers off an onion. Each realization you have about consumerism, media manipulation, or the illusions of choice reveals yet another layer beneath. And with each layer you peel back, you find more of your authentic self, the part that's been buried under layers of external conditioning. Sometimes you'll slip back into old patterns. That's normal. Liberation isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each time you catch yourself mindlessly scrolling or buying something you don't need, see it as an opportunity to learn and realign. Over time, these small corrections add up, and you'll notice you feel lighter, more present, and more in control of your destiny. Where do we go from here? So, you might be wondering, what do I do right now, this very minute, to start breaking free? First, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself how you feel mentally, emotionally, physically. Then, choose one small action that resonates with you. Maybe you'll silence those pesky notifications, or take a quick walk outside, or put on a song that uplifts your spirit, and actually listen to it without distraction. The point is to do something immediate and tangible that proves you're in the driver's seat. If you can, find a single area in your life that feels most draining. Maybe it's the news cycle, maybe it's clutter in your living space, or maybe it's your phone. Focus on that one area this week. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in a single day. Small, consistent steps are surprisingly powerful. It's like planting a seed. With care and attention, it will grow into something life-changing. Strength in community. Even though this system strives to keep us isolated or locked in superficial conflicts, remember that there's a massive community of people waking up to what's going on. You're not alone in feeling the pull to reclaim your energy and live more authentically. If you share your journey, whether through conversations with friends, community groups, or online forums that promote mindful living, you might be amazed at how many others resonate with your story. When people come together with a shared purpose to support, encourage, and uplift each other, something beautiful happens. It's like forming a shield against the noise of the world. Together, we can amplify each other's voices, pool resources, and create new spaces that promote genuine well-being over exploitation. The hidden system relies on our collective inaction, but the moment we unite, it weakens. Community can be a safe harbor in stormy seas, reminding you that you don't have to face these challenges by yourself. Rewriting the script. We've been following someone else's script our whole lives, often without realizing it. We go to school, get a job, spend years paying off debts, and maybe retire with just enough time and energy left to wonder what we missed out on. But guess what? You can rewrite that script. It starts by recognizing that you have agency, the power to say no to certain paths, and yes to the ones that truly align with your values and passions. This isn't about ignoring responsibilities. It's about questioning them. Is this truly my responsibility? Or was it handed to me by a system that benefits from my compliance? Sometimes, the answer might surprise you. Yes, we need to make a living. But do we need to sacrifice our entire sense of self and purpose in the process? When you begin to see that you have real choices that extend beyond the ready-made options, the system pushes you start to reclaim the narrative of your life. And that's a powerful place to be. Sustaining the new you. Remember, you're not striving to reach some magical endpoint called enlightenment. You're forging a new way of living that honors your energy and fosters growth. Think of it as shifting your baseline from survival to thriving. And just like any lifestyle change, it requires ongoing nurturing. You'll have ups and downs, breakthroughs and setbacks. That's part of being human. Try building a daily routine that supports your well-being. Maybe it's journaling first thing in the morning, taking breaks to breathe or stretch, or turning off screens an hour before bed. These small rituals act like anchor points, reminding you to stay connected to the life you're consciously creating. Over time, these daily habits become second nature, making it increasingly difficult for the hidden system to lure you back into old habits of exhaustion and mindless consumption. Your invitation to freedom. Now that you've glimpsed the machinery behind the exhaustion, ask yourself, are you ready to step off the hamster wheel? Are you ready to invest in yourself rather than in a system that drains you? This is your invitation to reclaim your energy and use it to build a life that feels genuine, purposeful, and alive. Your journey can inspire others. Imagine a domino effect of people choosing to unplug from fear-based media, limit their mindless scrolling, and instead cultivate creativity, connection, and clarity. That's the power of awareness. It spreads, and it changes the world one person at a time. So here's your simple challenge. Share this message with someone who feels stuck, someone who might need a nudge to see what's really happening. Then commit to one concrete action that aligns with your newfound vision of freedom and well-being. It might be tiny, a 5-minute meditation, an honest chat with a loved one, or a short walk in the sunshine. But every action is a seed. Plant it, nurture it, and watch it grow into a life you once thought was impossible. The hidden system's biggest weakness is your awareness. Once you recognize the sneaky ways it siphons your energy through fear, distraction, consumerism, and endless commitments, you can decide to stop playing along. You have the right to set boundaries, to prioritize your peace, and to question any narrative that leaves you feeling small or powerless. When you break free, even for a moment, you'll glimpse what it's like to live on your own terms, to be energized by your choices, rather than exhausted by them. The beautiful truth is this: your energy is yours. No one should claim it but you. Reclaim it, protect it, use it to paint a new vision for your life, and maybe even light the way for others. The world needs that spark only you can offer. Embrace it, and let this be the day you chose to stand in your full power, unstoppable and awake. Because once you decide to break free, there's no going back, and that is where real change begins.